quickest muscle cars of 1980. With the 70s coming to a close, many muscle car manufacturers were still doing their best to develop the best muscle car for the 80s. The 80s are often known for the rock and roll era, and during this era, people wanted to also have some of the fastest cars they could afford. Muscle car manufacturers were already on it. Welcome to Classic Car Features. Many might argue that the 80s saw the revolution of more advanced cars that were built to look good in the rock and roll scene. However, this is certainly not the case, and during the 80s, many car manufacturers took advantage of federal emissions regulations compliance, and some of the following top muscle cars were built. Join me as I take a stroll down memory lane and reveal the fastest muscle cars you could find when 1980 rolled around. Number 5. Dodge Miranda CMX. The Dodge Miranda is one of the unsung heroes when it comes to muscle cars in the US. The car has very little information about the backstory of the model, but it was still an effective model. Designed with the Chrysler Slant 6 3.7-liter engine for the base version, it did produce a good amount of horsepower in the base model design. However, buyers could choose to upgrade to the 5.2-liter V8 or the 5.9-liter V8 model. The more expensive 5.9-liter version produced around 185 horsepower for the time, and by adding the CMX package, you could boost this with an additional 30 horsepower. All in all, about 5,384 of these cars were built for the market, but it was one of the fastest models available. Number 4. Buick Riviera SType. If the unknown elements of Dodge were not what you were looking for, you could easily consider choosing the Buick Riviera. The model came standard with 160 horsepower and was designed with a 5.7-liter V8 engine. However, the more powerful 3.8-liter V6 was turbocharged and much lighter. In terms of the Buick, this model was standard for the S-Type and also featured a sport suspension and tighter steering with unique and sleek trim bits. While it was one of the best models ever produced in 1980, it could pump out around 185 horsepower, but you had to pay an additional $160 for the car. Number 2. Pontiac Firebird Formula Trans Am. There is plenty of controversies when it comes to the Pontiac Firebird Formula Trans Am. Many Pontiac fans are still frustrated by the fact that Pontiac opted to get rid of the 6.6-liter V8 engine. Pontiac opted for the less interesting 4.9-liter turbocharged engine, which could push out about 205 horsepower, but significantly less when compared to the 220 horsepower from the previous engine. One of the arguments from Pontiac was to reduce the chances of drivers blowing out the engine due to the automatic transmission and the over-revving of the vehicle. While the Pontiac Firebird Formula Trans Am was often criticized by many people, it was still one of the all-time best options for people to choose from. Number 1. Chevrolet Camaro. The king of all muscle cars in the year 1980 has to be the Chevrolet Camaro. Many people also call this America's sports car, and it claims to have a powerful 230 horsepower. Designed with an expensive $595 5.7-liter V8 engine, it turned out to be a massive upgrade over the 190 horsepower from the standard version. Unfortunately, those in California had to settle for something less, and the mandatory automatic transmission was one of the biggest drawbacks. The Golden State could only offer buyers the 180 horsepower version with a 5.0-liter V8 engine. So, there you have it. 5 of the most powerful and fastest muscle cars of 1980. Whilst there were certainly faster cars, the introduction of an emission policy saw engine decrease in certain states. However, the addition of turbocharged engines did help to keep the horsepower up. If you like these videos, be sure to let us know in the comments section which 1980 muscle car you like the most. Please like and subscribe, as your support helps us grow the channel and deliver the content that you love.